Michigan. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We have microphones will come around, and before you ask your question, please introduce yourself and your media outlet as well, please. This thing on? Yeah, you're good. Should be good.
I'm Donovan Scott with the Moneyball Channel, a podcast. Welcome to Buffalo, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Haven't probably taken too much of it in yet, but let me ask you guys this question. Going into a game like this, right, and not kind of the coach's answer of what you're prepped to say, but when you're huge favorites, how difficult is it, to stay mentally prepared? Everybody's a threat at this point, right? Everybody's in the tournament, and everybody's hungry, especially teams, that might not have the experience and have had the season that you guys have. So mentally, personally, how do you guys stay, zoned in 100%, like we need to go attack and treat this just like it's any other game or any other tournament game, or how do you mentally handle that?
I know, like, if we lose this game, it could be the end, and I'm not ready for the season to be over with yet. So I'm just making sure I do my best, come here and do what I do every game.
And I would go with what you said. Everybody is a threat. For them to get here, they had to win the championship. So, I've been in that predicament before, when I was a mid-major. So, we're going to go in there with nothing to lose. So we're just going to play our hearts out. And no matter what happens, we're happy that we made it. So being on this side now is just the same thing Red said. I don't want to lose. And this is going to be my last college game ever. So I want to continue my streak.
As they said, if you're playing this tournament, it's because you earn it. Every team is good here, so we are not thinking about we are, the favorites to win the game. We are just thinking about if you lose the game, you go home. So as he said, we just we want to keep going and keep playing. We're gonna treat everyone as the same, just being.
Yeah, no, I got it. Thanks a lot, guys. That makes a lot of sense. If you need any wing recommendations, we'll talk after, okay?
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
John Worrell with the Associated Press. For Yaxel, I've got two questions. One, you came up limping on Sunday. Everything good?
Yeah, I'm fine. I started moving, running around yesterday. I had a little bit of issues cutting a little bit, but today I think I'm gonna feel a lot better. And when I get into the game mindset, I think I'll be all right.
And just secondly, what did you guys learn from yourselves, Yaxel, from losing on Sunday, and how does that and what do you carry over from that game into the tournament?
I would say we have to dictate tempo. All season long, we've been struggling with coming out in the second half strong, and Purdue took advantage of that, and that really, gave them a lot of momentum in a game where it wasn't going too good for us. And then we started playing with our backs against the wall. I feel like we got a little jittery, started losing our composure a little bit. So I would just say, in this tournament especially, it's not going to be too many blowouts. So we just got to maintain our, our composure, stay together like we have been all year, and do whatever we can to make sure that we all play together.
Hey, fellas. Tony Garcia, Detroit Free Press. Good to see you guys. They say, we've spoken about this before, they say guards win in March. You guys have won so frequently through the three of you. What importance do you think specifically Elliot and Trey have on the success you guys may have in this run?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, ask the question again.
Elliot and Trey, their importance. What do you see their importance as in terms of this March run?
Okay, Elliot and Trey, they both very important to the team. Elliot run the show. Trey having to step out because LJ out right now. From when Elliot go out the game, Trey come in, run the show for us. They've been very helpful for us. Get us in spaces we need the ball, like where we want the ball in and stuff like that. Control everything. Very important for us.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Elliot, for a lot of our games where it came down to the wire, or even when the team starts making a run and we start, losing our composure a little bit, Elliot has always been the guy to provide instant offense for us. So his impact during this tournament is going to be especially needed because he's not going to get many breaks like he did when LJ was around. So also for Trey, he's been doing a pretty good job, handling that secondary ball handler role. So, he just continues to stay confident and continue to play within the team. We're going to be great.
Same as they said. Also, I would say their defense is super important too. Them pressuring the ball and making our job easier is one of the keys. That's why we are number one in defense in
Yeah.
the team in the country. So
3 now, I think.
is it one or
Which
number one?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's why we're number one. So yeah, I would say that too.
All right, back here in the hat.
I didn't know we were number 1. That's crazy.
Luke Taylor, Full Court Network. Guys, each of you, give me one word to describe Coach May.
Sir.
Yeah, I was trying to think.
That's a good one. I don't even know.
Yeah, Coach May unique. He's a different coach. That's the best way I can put it.
Unique. Okay. All right. You can.
I would say like the best. You know, there's two, but
Yeah, I gotta go too. I'm gonna go with like cool uncle. He's like that kind of guy.
All right, in the back here, and we'll come up to the front next.
Dylan O'Loughlin picking splinters, and Michigan, one of the best things that they got is your guys' size. You're really good at crashing the glass defensively, just really controlling that interior. I mean, just talk about your guys' mentality when it comes to controlling the paint down low, those second chance efforts, and getting what you want down low.
We know we have a die and Yax behind us. If somebody do get beat off the dribble, we know our teammates got our back, so they'll give us enough confidence to like get up in the ball handler, pressure the ball. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a second what he said. It's a dying res down there that are, pretty much providing like extra help for us. There's been so many times this year where, like he said, we're not being afraid to be more aggressive than we normally are because of the shot blocking that we have down there. It's really key to our defense and pretty much how we flow into like every game, pretty much every possession. Adai has been doing a really, really good job of maintaining all the finishes and stuff down low. And whenever, teams can't finish the way they usually do, that really bogs them down. So that's been helping us out tremendously.
I will also say that since we came together, the staff was giving us like what we had to do or how we were gonna play defense. So just by knowing what we have to do like every game, and what kind of shots we want and we don't want them to take, is like that's very helpful for when you're playing basketball too, when you play defense.
Up front here.
Yeah, one more for you guys. Dusty has talked about this specifically more than you guys have, and he's taken exception to the mercenary idea that I imagine you guys have heard floating around.
Yeah.
Now that you guys have had the season you've had, you're here representing Michigan. What do you all, since you three are 3 of the 4 who that's referencing, what do you have to say about that or think about that? We'll go the other way.
He starts.
You go first.
No, you start.
I'll go. Okay. Well, it's the modern day of basketball now. I think the transfer portal helps out a lot of kids, especially me. I feel like last year I had a pretty good year. I went under the radar a little bit because my team wasn't that good. I was mid-major. We didn't get that much spotlight. Now being in this situation, I've had the best year of my life, like I already stated. It's like I'm in the spotlight. I'm getting coached by a new coach that came from mid-major, so he knows how everything works. And man, we're really not bad kids, Like he did a good job recruiting guys that care for each other and put the team above themselves. And I mean, if that's what they want to call a mercenary, then, I mean, I would love to be a mercenary. That's cool with me. I'll tell you later. Go ahead.
Okay. No, you got it.
Go.
I'm with him.
You didn't know what I said. Go on. Adai likes the idea too, because of
You go.
Why you so nervous, dog? Mercenary.
I agree with what Yak said, man. I think the transfer portal helps out a lot of players, especially me. Coming from a program where I didn't play that much at, and like I felt like kind of restricted, Coming here with Coach May, I started to like love basketball again. It was fun. You never play with, yeah. I don't know. I agree with you.
Yeah, and for me, I would say that after those 2 years, it was great to come here and create this like new family in basketball. So that helped me too. And yeah, I would say that. Come on, man.
Any other questions for our student athletes? Now we'll let them go. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
We're waiting on Coach. Just a reminder that Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference and all the press conferences in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. And transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly after each press conference. All right, we're now joined by Coach Dusty May. Coach, if you want to open up with a statement, and then we'll take questions from the media.
Yeah, we're incredibly excited to be here in Buffalo and have the opportunity to compete against a very well-coached Howard team that's performed extremely well down the stretch. And so we're just ready to get back on the court.
All right, if you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone around. Right here, John Worrow.
Hi, Dusty. John Worrell with the Associated Press. If I read your bio correctly, you've been here before.
It's been a few moons, but yes.
And it was 2000.
Correct.
It was a memorable game, or immemorable, perhaps.
It was.
What do you, as you are now like the number one seed, and knowing what happened back then, and knowing the fickleness of basketball, just how do you, did that help form or shape your philosophy going, in any way, being a top seeded team and facing a lower opponent in this sense?
I don't think that game did that. I mean, we all know how dangerous the NCAA tournament is. Every team here is here for a reason. They're really good, and it's daunting to even look at the brackets because seeding, first of all, the seeding could be the result of an injury, maybe a down stretch during the course of a year. And our season's so long, you could be and even now, I went back and I was watching our St. John's exhibition, and I was watching McNeese and a couple teams that pressed us just to see what all we did against it. And we become different teams over the course of a season. So, no, we anyone that's followed the game like we have, we're very well versed, and upsets can happen anytime, anywhere, especially when you're playing a team that's as capable as Howard.
Just as a follow-up here. Let me put my question to you this way. What did you take out of that moment?
Was that the Pepperdine game?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, the thing that jumps out now is you better have a playmaker in the middle of the zone, high post. Pepperdine zoned us. We had Lynn Washington playing primarily in the high post. He struggled. We couldn't get any rhythm shots. So I remember that, just thinking, like, you really need to have a versatile playmaker that can get in the middle of the zone, shoot, drive, pass, whatever the case. So, certain things stick with you, obviously, for a long time, and that's one of those things.
All right, up front here.
Chris Ballas with the Wolverine on 3. Dusty Adai just told us that he wasn't even talking about money with you during the recruiting process. He didn't have any idea what you were offering. He just wanted to play basketball in the right spot. Was that one of the things that really drew you to him? Yeah,
just obviously, you watch him, and we went back and looked at Synergy, his national team stuff. Like, when we zero in on someone, it's like a 24-hour, like, just all in on trying to gather as much information and just see them at their best, see them at their worst, and just try to get a clear picture of who they are. And then once we started, the recruiting process was a couple weeks. Once we started talking to him, I fell in love with him as a person. Like, literally, we were recruiting a handful of guys. There's probably 5 guys that we were recruiting for that one spot. And it was just the way he makes people feel when he's around them. It's impossible not to feel better about yourself because of how engaging he is, how warm he is, and he really, really cares about other people. I mean, even his passing, I love the comment that he made, the assist makes 2 people happy. And so it was more that than anything else because, at the end of the day, he had talent. Everyone for the last 10 years has known that he's had talent, but how do you unlock that talent? We weren't sure we could. We did feel like we had the system in place where we could maximize what he does well, but even to be honest, I was talking to his agent recently, and I didn't even know how much he made, and I knew there's the range because that was never. It was one of those things where it's like, okay, let's just figure out a way to make this work for both parties, and so we did.
All right, we'll go here, and then we'll go over here. Go ahead.
And what do you think Max O'Neill, the Niagara Gazette. And so what do you think it means to little kids growing up in the area to see Roddy playing here in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, really cool. I mean, I'm sure they saw Moose Johnston growing up from Roddy's high school playing football, but it's really cool to have a local story like Roddy's. I mean, he's just like a guy, just such a warm-hearted guy. He's always giving back. He's trying to get home as much as he can. And so I think it's just, that's the beautiful thing about the NCAA. There's so many of these stories that if you don't make the tournament are never out in the world. Even the Koji, just listened to his interview last night. If they don't make the tournament, we're not familiar with what a seemingly amazing human being he is. And so that's kind of how I feel about our guys. If we don't have the success we've had, they don't get a chance. The world doesn't get a chance to see who they are as people.
Right up front here.
Clayton Safety with the Wolverine. Coach, Elliott was saying the sequence against Wisconsin where he missed the three, Yax got the rebound, went back to him, and he made the next one. Kind of showed how far he's come in terms of rewiring himself to be confident in his jumper. How have you seen that confidence grow, and kind of what did you tell him when he got there about, hey, you have the green light to shoot these?
Well, I think everyone knows that the green light is earned in our program, and to see him shoot that, I've seen the work that he's put in. And when we signed him, it's the same thing. We did a deep dive and really analyze, and we heard the stories and whatever the case. And I didn't see him much in high school or AAU. I probably saw him play once or twice in all the prep time. And then I didn't watch Carolina much. I watched him play in Dayton last year, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday. And so I hadn't watched him a lot. And then I went back at Synergy, and when we watched his shots, I felt like just on film he had a good shot. Sometimes certain things kept him from taking the highest quality shots, and that's the part I didn't know. And so when we met with him, it was more or less that we this is our shot diet, our shot profile, and we think if you'll buy into this, you'll be a very efficient shooter and scorer. And we don't want anyone on our roster that you don't have to guard. And so, but when you see him hit that shot, first thing I could think about is all the work that he's put in. He's been fairly consistent before practice, after practice, working on the shots he's going to get. And I didn't even realize it, but when the ball got kicked back to him, one of the assistants said, I basically said something along the lines like, why aren't you shooting it? Like, why haven't you shot it yet? What are you thinking about? Like, just shoot it again. And so fortunately he had the confidence and the belief in himself to step up and knock down that big shot.
All right, back here.
Dana O'Neill with CNN Sports. Dusty, you talked about evolutions of programs. I think a lot of people would look at yours and thought you've been pretty consistent all through. How have you guys evolved, gotten better as the season has progressed?
Well, we weren't very good early. We found a way to win, and that's kind of how our season was majority of last year, where we weren't near as good as our record, but the last 4 or 5 minutes of games, our guys could turn into these superhuman rebounders and playmakers, and we could generate dunks and layups. So we kind of had a secret weapon where if we just knew we were close, we could find a way to win. This year we had so many blowouts. We weren't in very many close games, so we didn't get to learn as much about ourselves as we did in the Big Ten tournament. And, obviously we're still doing deep dives and when we've played well and when we haven't and what's been the difference. And I think we've been getting 15 to 20 possessions less over the last month of the season than we got before that. And so teams have slowed down tempo. Teams have tried to restrict our freedom of movement. They've tried to get more physical with us. And so we haven't adjusted to that rugged play as well as we need to if we're going to be as good as anyone in the country. But I think our consistency is just the number of capable players we have. And we always talk about it that no one plays great every game. If you're going to have a bad night, I'm going to have a bad night. There are guys, but our team has been deep enough where someone's had an off night, someone else has been more than capable of coming in and carrying the load, and those guys that are more than capable don't get an opportunity to do it as often as they probably deserve. But that's, I think anytime you turn on TV and watch any really good team, that's the case. So that sacrifice, that the ability to stay ready when it's not going well for you, I think are probably the biggest things.
We'll go back here.
Coach May, Luke Taylor, Full Court Network. With everything going on in college basketball landscape, whether it's the transfer portal, NIL, the coaching transfer portal, carousel, whatever you want to call it, how do you keep the main thing the main thing?
It's a great question. It's not easy, but I think if you do it every day of the year and you just focus on what impacts winning and what impacts people, I think you probably continue to keep your compass pointed in the right direction. Justin Joyner is in that transition for us. He wasn't officially in the coaches portal, but they came and got him, and they got a superstar in the making. But it's not easy, and that's probably our biggest fight every day is not thinking about what happens the day you lose, because when you lose in college basketball, your last game, the next 24 to 48 hours is a tsunami, and you don't know what direction it's coming. You don't know what direction's going, but there are a lot of people, they're counting on you to make quick, decisive decisions that impact their futures, and you're counting on them to make quick, decisive decisions that impact your future and your time and everything else. So that's probably the most difficult part, but we just take a lot of pride in staying fluid, not being too emotional, not making rash decisions, thinking things out, and then obviously having a strong belief in what we do, that we'll find the right guys that want to do it how we believe is the best way.
You go in the back here.
Andrew Kahn, MLive.com. The Big Ten drought is very long for a national championship. I know you've been in a lot of different conferences, but you started your career in this one. What is the pride you take in trying to win one for this conference?
A lot more pride in winning one for the University of Michigan and all the people that have helped our staff, our players along this journey. Winning one for the Big Ten is obviously incredibly important because we represent this historical conference. But we're just, to be honest, now we're in the tournament. It's all the first possession gets Howard, and then we get to the next possession. But it'd be really it'd be cool to win one for Michigan and the Big Ten.
All right, John, real quick.
You were talking about not being in enough close games. Yaxel talked about feeling maybe jitters in the second half against Purdue on Sunday, that maybe they had you a bit on your heels in some ways. What did you learn or take away out of that loss now going into the tournament?
Well, I didn't notice Yax being on the jitters helped. He was incredibly aggressive, and he performed really well in the second half, and at times was on the verge of willing us back into position to win the game. We learned a lot. It was more about how they attacked us, what we didn't do well, where we had some game slippage. And obviously Purdue was incredibly determined. I think, when you're number one in the country going into the year and you have 2 first-team All-Americans, 2 players in the top 5 of all of college basketball, and then you come into the Big Ten tournament as a 7 seed, you probably want to salvage something. So I think their want to was greater than ours on that day.
All right, we're up here.
Max O'Neill of the Niagara Gazette. And so how have you seen Roddy kind of mentally respond to the fact that he hasn't been starting this season?
He didn't start last year, about 2/3 through the season, and he adapted well. That's it's the same thing within our program. Like our guys, everyone wants to start. When you coach baseball, everyone wants to pitch and play shortstop, and when you coach football, everyone wants to play quarterback and running back and wide receiver, right? I mean, it's just Roddy's a great teammate, and from day one he's been whatever you need me to do. There's never been any bad body language for what the team needed him to do. And I mean, we've had guys who are second or third in minutes coming off the bench because maybe that balances. Our Final Four team, Michael Forrest, was a 4-year starter, and his 5th year came off the bench because that balanced our rotations better. And so if you're going to be in position like we are and we have been, then you have guys that are willing to do and play whatever roles necessary for the team. And Roddy's that guy.
Go ahead, right here.
Chris Ballas again. I'm sure the resumes are coming in for that assistant coaching job. What are you looking for, and can you just talk about how these guys have kind of set the bar for your expectations for that position?
Yeah, to be honest, we could promote from within. We could hire an older, established coach. We're going to put a lot of thought into what this group needs, and to be honest, I really want to wait until after the coaching carousel calms down so I can see the full picture and then analyze what the team needs. And then also it's just like the players. I mean, you talk about, coaches get up and say they got outbid, someone outbid them for this player, whatever the case. We all have a choice to use our resources how we do. So to see what the resources look like, to see what the staff needs, to see where we are, and then make those decisions. But yeah, just casting a big net right now, but I'm not spending any time on that at this moment because we have a very capable group and he's still with us, but we have a group that everyone's going to pick up the slack a little bit more and pick up because he's obviously going to be taking calls to fill his staff and things like that. He's going to be preoccupied at times, but I'm not sure yet. I definitely want to hire someone that's going to make us better coaches.
All right, we have time for one more. Gentleman in the back.
Yeah, Mike Waters from the Syracuse Post-Standard. Dusty, I want to base this off your experience of making the jump to Michigan and having the success you've had. What does a coach need to have in place in order to hit the ground running and be competitive in terms of NIL, other financials? You know, what does the coach need to take over right away?
You know, there's no right. It's like everything else. There's no right or wrong. There's no number. You see astronomical numbers out there that those guys aren't playing. And so I think it's more of a skill set by the coach. I think evaluation is more important than ever. And that's even evaluating who you're going to pay as your max players, as your mid-level players and whatnot. And also evaluate guys that can impact winning in the future that maybe don't have great expectations. And then also the ability to develop players quickly and efficiently. And then also how do you get players that can adapt to different systems and plug in different ways. But I don't think you can say that it's going to take this number, obviously, and that number can change. Our number's never been flat. It's been, we have this amount. And then, I mean, even in our first year, I mean, we had, I think, one of the lowest NIL budgets in the country. I mean, I know we did. And then we were able to use what we had to get 2 or 3 really good players at about 25% market rate. And then once you can start raising some more, okay, you guys were able to get that with X number of dollars. Okay, we can find some more. Just keep recruiting as long as you can do it like this. And so I think it changes, and every situation's different. Every scenario is different. But there is value in a coaching staff and group that can win with less by getting great value. And so I can't answer that question because, I mean, you could have guys with the largest budgets losing, and you could have guys with small budgets that found the right formula and are winning. So I don't, but you need a coach who knows, you need a staff that can evaluate and develop and put the right pieces together, I think.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for your time, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.